Good morning, welcome to the Daily. Today is the Daily for Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. My name is Elliot Moore. I'm a resident here at Church Where You Are, and I'm so excited to be joining you this morning. We are in day 2 of our series, Living Like Jesus. But before we get into the devotion this morning, let me know in the chat or the comment section where you're watching from. We have people from all over the world that join us here at Church Where You Are. So just put it in the chat or the comment section where you're watching from, and you might find somebody that's a little bit closer than you would have thought. Today's devotion is all about having a servant's heart. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase, Jesus came to serve and not to be served before. Even if you're not a churchgoer, I'm sure you've heard that phrase, that Jesus came to serve but not to be served. And we get that from Matthew 20, verse 28. It reads, "Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So I know this is a very short verse, and this will be a very short daily, but let's break that down. This is just as the Son of Man did not come to be served. Let's just break down that. We're talking about God here, and I know we know that, but we're talking about God. A God that can't get anything from us. What can we do from God that he couldn't do for himself? Nothing. So if anybody were to have the right to say, you're going to serve me, you're going to carry out my will, you're going to do everything that I want, it would be him. Because if he decided to do that, and let's not get it twisted with this, if he decided to do that, to make all of us bow and all of us serve, he could. He wouldn't have to ask. But he didn't do that. Because he did come to this world. This isn't some fairy tale. This isn't some, well, if there was a God, like this being, like an alien. This really happened. He did come to our world. But he didn't do that. He didn't say, bow down to me. He served us. He served us. That is the greatest example of a loving heart that we have. And this is what it means to be a Christ follower. We're called to serve the people that should be serving us. It's just a reality, because we should be serving him, but when he was here in this world, on this earth, he served us. We didn't serve him. And the second part, and to give his life as a ransom for many. To give his life as a ransom for many. A ransom is a form of payment. A ransom is, okay, I'll pay you, and this debt is no longer. I'll pay you. Usually, if it's a ransom, it's talking about a kidnapping. Somebody is kidnapped, right? And the kidnappers demand money for the person back. That's a ransom. So in this case, he laid his life down. He laid his life down. He allowed himself to be captured, beaten, tortured, mocked, and he died a criminal's death as a ransom for many. And that means for you and I. So when we talk about serving, it's not volunteering his 2 hours every Sunday. It's not serving people like a waiter or waitress. He gave his life. He took the punishment of death for us. So I specifically toned this daily on a more serious note Because when we talk about service, when we talk about what it means to be a Christ follower, to live more like Jesus, remember that the 2 hours that you volunteer on a Sunday, or the hours you spend awake helping somebody, is nothing in comparison to what was paid for us. It's our job to follow in His example. So maybe everyone didn't need to hear this, but if you're feeling pride for what you have done, and maybe it's getting to your ego, maybe you think, yeah, this is how it should be done. They should be serving me. I deserve thanks for all of the things I have done. Remember that He gave His life as a ransom for everyone, even the people that won't acknowledge Him. And I'm not saying you don't deserve credit. What I am saying is, that's what it means to be a Christ follower. To serve and not to be served. Even if you're in a position that you should be served. Because so was He, and He chose to serve. Thank you so much for joining me in another edition of Daily. I know this one was toned more seriously, and I didn't really intend for that to happen, but I believe that that's the message we were supposed to get from this daily. So, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you on another edition of the Daily. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.